I converted this van into a camper van with little to no experience for me to live in. What comes with that is a lot of problems and a lot of lessons learned. On 3 occasions, this van nearly never got finished. And because when you're building something like this, you've got a lot of variables, a lot of little bits and bobs that need doing across the whole span to get it complete. Sometimes that can become overwhelming. This is how to solve that. Because I think we can all agree all the stuff you need to do to be able to convert a van, it gets overwhelming. They are never truly complete. There's always something that goes wrong, always something that needs changing, but you can either class that as a problem or an opportunity. I wanted to fit an awning on the side, which meant I needed to reduce the size of my solar panels on the roof. It's all about problem solving. You become very good at it. Because I have smaller solar on the roof, I need a bigger DC to DC charger. Instead of finding it as a problem, find it as a benefit. Every problem, everything that needs changing is just a chance to upgrade. But sometimes problems can come just out of the blue. This van was parked for best part of 4 days in minus stupid degrees and my shower froze. It basically broke the actual connections and I thought that's all it did. So I went out and I bought a new hose. Guess what? It turns out that's not the problem. Well, it was the problem. It's just other problems had occurred. You see, the cold water doesn't even come out the shower head anymore. So that means when it froze solid, it damaged the inside of the actual shower head. That cold water is actually turned on now, nothing's coming out of it. All that stuff on top of all the electrical stuff I need to do, on top of the Starlink that I need to, along with all the other stuff I need to do to this van, it starts to get a bit overwhelming. And this is what everybody sees when they are converting a van. And this is how I overcome it. There's many different ways. This is just the way I do it. It's a Frosties cornflake box. You can use whatever cereal you want and write down a list of everything that you need to do to the van. Seeing it all laid out like that just doesn't help at all. But if you can separate each individual bit of that into its own little thing and tackle one thing at a time, by the time you get one little thing done, you start getting a bit motivated. Take on a slightly bigger challenge that's on that list, you start getting even more motivated. Lo and behold, you end up trying to find the time to be able to do the rest of it. Here's my list. And chances are I've probably missed bits on here. I've separated it into electrical, mechanical, plumbing, things I need to buy for this stuff and things I need to buy to do this stuff. Number 1, electric hookup and consumer unit run into the inverter that I've got fitted in this van. That means I'll be able to plug in onto campsites and stuff like that. Now I've got a smaller solar on the roof, I just want to add that option as a backup. I've already bought the stuff, not got round to fitting it. Probably going to do it somewhere there because it's a nice flat surface, easy to do. The only problem with that is the inverter is on the other side of the van, so I'm going to have to run the cables inside underneath the back of the bed. So the electric hookup will come in down underneath the bed over there, and I'll bring the cables around, consumer unit there on the other side of that board, and then into the inverter, which is over there. But there's potentially no plan in even making that plan because I kind of want to rejiggle the electrics in there anyway, put them all in one little box out the way, hide them away, solely because I've got the 70 amp, or no, the 50 amp DC to DC charger from Victron, the new XS Victron. That's got to go in there because, again, less solar on the roof means I could do with a bigger DC to DC charger. That is pulling power from the engine, dumping it into my batteries. At the minute, I've got the 30 amp. That charges around 250, 300 watts worth of power back into my batteries, 30 amp. If I go for the 50 amp, it's going to push 700 watts back into it. It's double the power going into it. But that is where things got a little bit different. My battery is underneath that seat there. Me cable comes out from there, hides all underneath. All of this goes behind the wall, the actual metal wall there, behind the shower, and then into the garage behind over there. That cable is a 16mm cable. That isn't enough to safely run that amount of power for that long because I've got 400 amp hours of batteries. So I need to up the cable size. I've got the bigger cables, I've got the bigger fuse, I've got the Victron XS. It's just a case of fitting it. I'm thinking I'm just going to run it straight underneath the van and all the way underneath and then back up into the back in the sort of electrical box that I'm going to build. Let's just go in the back of the van and show you what I mean by the electrical stuff, because this is a job that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and you're going to see something else as well. Look at all the stuff in there. E-bike, e-scooter, rock salt because it's winter, not used it, it's been in there for months. I've burnt so much fuel carrying that around and I've never used it. Toolbox, batteries, stuff, Starlink, box full of stuff, all the way back behind there, 90 litre water tank, all the other stuff's over there, all the electrics are down here. I essentially want to narrow that all down, trim it all down a bit, because that bike weighs 35 kilos. The water tank is huge. The rock salt's 25 kilos. It's heavy, which is why the back end of the van is sitting quite low down. Had a little road trip with a few friends down to Nomad Adventure Vehicles the other day, and they've all got crafters as well, but they've got this air suspension kit on the back, and it was about this much higher. But it's not just the fact of lifting the back end. No, it's a bit more than that. So it's basically just suspension support. It's all ran off an air compressor underneath. You can pump it up to 2 bar, which just takes a lot of the sort of, it stiffens it up when you're going around corners. It doesn't roll, it just stiffens up the back end, raises it that little bit just to give it a bit of, it basically puts it to where it would be if it didn't have a load in the back. But then the joy part of it is when I'm parked up in heavy wind and the van's blowing, I can pump that back suspension up to 6 bar, maximum 5 ton, and it raises it up, it stiffens it up so you don't get blown around an awful lot. If you're parked on the wonk on the back end, you can individually lower or higher each different side of the van, so you'll be able to level yourself off with this suspension, and it only cost me about 350 quid. I've got it, I just need to fit it. To be fair, I could do with some new tyres as well. I don't really need them, they are perfectly legal, but you sort of, they've done nearly 70,000 mile. You compare that, or let's go down to this one, you compare that one to the new one that's on the back, you can see, you can definitely see the difference. I don't know, I just need to sort of, it's playing on my mind that I could do with some new tyres. They're getting a bit too low for my liking and for the stuff that I do up in the mountains. While I'm playing around with the electrics, uprating the cables, because I'm going to have a bigger battery, I've got bigger power coming in from the DC to DC charger, so I'll redesign the whole electrical setup. But then if I'm redesigning it, I may as well upgrade it. I've got a 12 volt fuse box down there which runs all my lights and stuff, and it's hidden away, but then it means I have to run all my cables from all the way down here into there. I've got 12 blade fuse box holder underneath the bed over there. That's not enough for all the stuff that I've got, and I'm going to be adding more. So what I'm thinking, stealing another idea off Neil and Jermaine at Dubbed Out Community, they ran a bigger cable from that fuse box up into one of the cupboards, and they have a fuse box up here which is easily accessible for general lighting and stuff like that. I'm tempted to do that. I'm thinking up in this one, because currently there's only me in the van and I've got 12 cups and stuff like that, so I can easily make space in that one. But here is where I want the Savvy screen. Are you starting to see what I mean by it's getting a bit overwhelming? There's a lot to do. While there's a problem, I may as well turn that problem into an upgrade. I'm not sure if I have shown this before, but this is the Savvy tanks stuff that I've got. It's a screen that basically controls the van. Essentially, that's all it is. Whoops, there we go. That screen will easily go up there nicely. I'm going to put that there. It's going to have the control panel just behind it, the 12 volt fuse box just behind it. I'll be able to control everything from the lights, the fuel pumps. It's got Savvy stance, so I'll be able to Bluetooth in how level the van actually is. I'll be able to see how full my water tank is, how full my wastewater tank is. I have got so much stuff in here, including, that's the Savvy tanks. I think I've got a shunt in here too. Just there, big 500 amp shunt, so I'll be able to see what's happening with my batteries, what's coming in, what's going out, what's everything, all through that. I'm really excited about that. I've done loads of research into that to find out exactly how to wire it all up. I'll leave them linked in the description because that's quite cool. Next on the list, Starlink on the roof. I've been dying to do that since November, nearly 3 months, and I just haven't got round to it because I need to buy some stuff. I needed to do some technologically stuff. My brain wasn't braining for the Christmas period, but it's got to go up on the roof, and I've got to get a cable through to go to my unit just over there. And it's been I can't take the roof down. I can't take this roof down, so I've had to come up with other braining things. I don't know what this was. But with that, I managed to make a list of stuff I need to buy because I've already bought some of that stuff. I just need to figure the rest of that stuff out. I want to try and build a wood like all underneath the bed, so I've got to plan that out. We've spoke about the trim, the double seat trim. I found that is basically a trim piece that goes over there. Because this had a bulkhead in this van, it didn't have that piece, but the Grand California, which is a medium wheelbase craft that's already professionally done by VW into a camper van, has that piece there. So I found it, and I've ordered that. I haven't got it yet, but I've ordered that. This shower has been the headache for me. I'm lucky being a truck driver at the minute. My work has showers there for all the people in the trucks and stuff, so I use that shower at the minute, so it's not really been a massive rush, but I'm having some time off and I'm going traveling again very soon. Need to get that fixed, and I'm hoping I can get one that doesn't have that little brass piece on the top. The Savvy tanks also comes with a Savvy drain, so a Bluetooth drain for the water tank to basically stop stuff like that freezing again. Now I know stuff like the electrical system can be very, very confusing, so I'd like to draw it all out on a piece of card and keep hold of that piece of card. Let me show you how to do it, because it really does simple it down for you. And again, with the electrics being such a big project, you can cut that down into little sections too. So let's go through it all, shall we? It comes in 3 sections, your full Campervan in electrical system. Over here you have the charge side. This is all the charge that's coming into your van, into the middle bit, which is your batteries or battery, whichever one you want to do. We're going to draw a box there. Me, I've got 400 amp hours. Over this side is the drain on the batteries. This is the stuff that you basically drain all the power I can't spout out of your batteries. Over this side we have solar, straight away a positive and negative coming off that into buzz bar. These two are buzz bars, positive and negative. They're basically a junction box. All the power comes into them and then from them out. Those buzz bars are connected with a really thick cable going down to the negative and the positive side of your batteries. Over here you've got your engine. Your engine charges up your normal drive battery, your starter battery in your van. From your starter battery comes over to the DC to DC charger. There's various different methods of DC to DC chargers. If you've got a newer van with a smart alternator, go for a DC to DC charge. If you've got an older van with a standard alternator, you can go for just a standard split charge. From there, again, straight into the buzz bars, both positive and negative. You have got your electric hookup. If you are plugged into the actual electric hookup on a campsite, it comes from your electric hookup to a consumer unit, which is all your trips, your fuses, all that sort of stuff. And from there you can go into your battery charger. Your battery charger, I have got a 30 amp Victron blue charger on mine. From that battery charger again up to your positive and negative on the charge side of your buzz bars. That's essentially one side of it. That's the way I've done it on mine, being my van is fully electric. So I've just got electric induction hob, I've got air fryer, I've got no gas in this van at all. So that is my first one. You can split that first one into 3 different sections. Right, today I'm going to do the solar, tomorrow I'm going to do that, the day after I'm going to do that. That is your charge side of things. But the drain side of things is again completely up to your customization, your imagination, and whatever you want in the camper van to use. That all comes off the drain side of it all. Let's go with the standard. From the actual buzz bars, your positive buzz bar goes all the way up to, I can't do this one-handed, the positive side of a 12-volt fuse box. Your negative goes up to the negative side of a 12-volt fuse box. That's basically it there. Everything is all there. All your negatives are on the top for me, all my positives are down the side. Now, because I'm going to be adding a second 12-volt fuse box, so I'm going to still have the one in the boot, and I'm going to have more cables coming up to one up in this top cupboard up here. So all I'm going to have to do is run either another cable from the buzz bars out to another 12-volt fuse box, which is possibly the best idea, or I can just loop straight off that onto another 12-volt fuse box. This way it's going to be the better way for the constant current. Inverter is used for your standard plug sockets. Basically all the 240 volt is your household appliances. Again, positive off the positive buzz bar to the positive side of the actual inverter, negative to the negative side of the actual inverter. The inverter has a couple of plug sockets on it, or 1 or 2. I currently have a 3000 watt inverter because I am a fully electric campervan. So when I've got my 800 watt induction hob on and my 1500 watt air fryer on, it tends to draw an awful lot of power off there. That's a different story altogether, because you need to have the battery capacity to be able to do that. They're just plug sockets. You can run your plugs round to basically all the plugs you need throughout the whole campervan. I have a 240 attachment on my water heater. Again, straight from the buzz bars, straight to the positive and straight to the negative on the water heater. Now that boiler is a dual boiler, it's the bobble VANZ boiler. So the 12 volt comes straight off the bus bars to the 12 volt setting on the boiler. It also has a 240 volt, which it goes straight to the inverter. That is very, very amateur drawn. That was just drawn to do that. But I do have this one just here, which is basically a much more colourful version. You can screenshot that if you want. Let me run you through this one. Engine to your alternator. This tells you where all the switches need to go and where fuses need to go. Make sure you do fuse everything. So that's your alternator charging, which goes down to your batteries, your solar charging, which goes down to your batteries, your electric hookup, which goes down to your batteries, your inverter, your battery charger, 12 volt stuff, everything basically. I just keep that straight up there. Having everything written down like that is clear, it's in your face. You can then run through and start ticking things off. If you're ADHD like me, draw little boxes on the side, and that way your mind is going to tell you basically, right, I need to tick all those boxes now. Figure out what you can get, when you can get it in, then start working out exactly how you're going to be ticking them off and stuff like that. For me personally, I live inside this van currently, so I can't knock my electrical system completely off for a week while I do all my electrical work. So I have to take in each individual aspect as quickly as possible. So my DC to DC charger, I can keep everything in place right now and just sort of put it on the wall, put everything in place, run all the cables, don't actually connect up. And then the next day I can just go, right, 20 minutes, connect, fuse, done. That's how I think I'm going to have to do it. I can get like uprated cables. That is the biggest hint with all of this. I kid you not, I've nearly set this campervan on fire twice and currently it's in that state again. These little cables are not good enough for this campervan. Well, not good enough for the amount of power that I draw off the batteries anyway. If I was just trickle charging those batteries, if I was just trickle draining those batteries, it'd be perfectly fine. For what I've got planned, I'm going to be using a lot of power, but I'm also going to be dumping a lot of power back in there. So I've uprated those, or I need to uprate those. I've got 95mm square cables, some big beastie things, but that future-proofs the cables for future upgrades. Stuff like the extra 12 volt fuse box, I can put that up there, rearrange what I need to do in there to make it safe to obviously cover it over and stuff like that. And I can run all the cables and stuff, just not connect them up. And then at the last minute, I can connect them up when I've got the time to connect them up and then fault find any problems that I may actually occur. Cut that piece a little bit short solely because somebody pulled up in front of me that recognised me. They wanted to have a chat, and I've got the time of day for absolutely everybody who recognises me online. It's just one of those things. We ended up spending an hour. He gave me loads of cool little spots that I've got them pinned on my map already. But anyway, back in work for a night shift. You want to know where I've been for the last couple of weeks? This is where I've been. This is the dashboard to my truck. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It's beautiful. It's a Scania, and we're down at a place near sort of like between Manchester and sort of Wigan area. You've got that digger there. He's loading that truck up with a load of recycled wood. That's the same sort of stuff that I'm going to be picking up. It's basically wooden pallets, or do you know, if you go to the tip, you've got all that wood that you chuck in the wood recycling section. It gets picked up, it gets to a place like this. In the background there, you can see like a little chute coming up with loads of stuff flying over it. That digger's picking up the actual material now. That's basically grinding up all that wood, turning it into that big pile just there. That truck that's parked up over there now, he's from Crozer Span in North Wales, in Chirk. He's going to be taking that down, and they make like chipboards and stuff like that there. That's where he's going to be taking that. I'm going to be taking virtually the exact same material, except I'm taking it to Lockerbie Power Station. And they're basically going to chuck it through the boiler and create some electricity for Dumfries and Galloway for a bit. It's mad to think that I'm going to use 150 litres worth of diesel to be able to take that up to Lockerbie, not that truck obviously, what's behind that truck, and then that's going to give a little bit of electricity towards Dumfries and Galloway. They say it's green energy because they're burning recycled materials, yet I'm still burning 150 litres worth of fuel to get it there. It is what it is. I kind of like this, to be fair. I get north of sort of Morecambe later and I can just stick cruise control on and just, whew, I get paid to do nothing. It's great. We're now getting loaded, getting all that stuff just there, and then you've got the shovel driver just there loading it into the back. Loads it in from the roof and we get it out through the sides. It's the next day, we're parked up, we've been to sleep, cracking night's sleep, but while I was driving last night, in a world of my own, I remembered something else that needs to be on this list. Wastewater pipes and outlet. essentially underneath this van, from all the wastewater pipes from the appliances down to my wastewater tank, come under the van, but then they're doing like this all the time. So I've got to rearrange all that to make it drain a lot better. And then the outlet from the wastewater tank is just a tiny 15mm hose. I've got something a bit bigger, 40mm, to get that sorted. That's another job I need to add, but I think I'm going to do that after the suspension, so my fat ass can fit under the van to get it done. But this is the thing, when you are doing a van conversion like this, it tends to take up a lot of your time. That time is what you used to spend doing what you loved, which is possibly the reason why you wanted to do a van conversion in the first place. For me, I love getting up in the mountains and basically climbing the mountains, having a good time, hiking, adventures, all that sort of stuff. When I was building this, all my time went on to building this, and I stopped doing the mountains for a little bit. Then I started to lose track of why I was still doing this. I didn't have an end goal. If you're feeling like that, dump the van for a week. Go and re-energize yourself. Show yourself why you wanted to do this in the first place. That's definitely a good tip. Oh, I've got the crank oil seal on the front of the engine to get done as well. That's an important one. But I think what I'm going to do is hold it in the list, looking at it going, oh God. I'm probably going to start with the suspension and building the garage out, getting that all sorted, so that then I can start designing the electrical system, and then I can go from there, one thing after another, tick off, tick off, tick off. I've got the shower on order, so as soon as that comes, that is literally such a quick little job. I'll get that sorted too. Tune in next time when we're going to start doing an awful lot of this work. Peace out, guys.